right, welcome everybody that's streaming live. Welcome. This is a pre-recorded video with an amazing guest today. Amazing woman of God who has an amazing journey and story. So if you're watching for the first time, this is Singles Central TV. So welcome. Make sure you invite your friends, tag, share to get as many people in the room. And I wanted to create this space for singles so you can have a place to go where you can find out how can you stop waiting and start living your life right now. Living boldly, living authentically, exactly who God called you to be. You don't have to wait for that mate to come. You can create. Keyword is create the life that you love. And that's what we're going to be showing you to do here on the show today and many episodes to come in the future. So I have a special guest, and I should tell you who I am because you may not know, even though you're on my page. So welcome. My name is Jo Bullock, and I'm a best-selling author of the book, The Biggest Lies Women Believe, about men dating themselves, discover the truth to a fabulous life and fabulous relationship, which you can grab from our website at detourmovement.org, or you can go over to Amazon and grab a copy. And I'm also the author of Sexless Singles. So if you missed the first episode, you should go back and check it out, where I was really authentic and shared my story in that episode. So here we go. We have Kadesha Carroll here today. I'm so honored. She's a personal friend of mine and an amazing woman who is known as Miss Live on Purpose. So welcome, Kadesha. Hi. Give it up for Kadesha.
Thank you, Jill, for having me. It's an honor, always an honor to do work and do ministry with you.
Absolutely. So let me just tell you a little bit about Kadesha. I don't have a formal bio. I'm just going to tell you my truth about how I know her. So I met Kadesha back, 2008-ish time frame back in San Diego. And I got recruited to do youth ministry. So I started recruiting everybody else to come help me. And we all were doing youth ministry, kind of like to stumble upon that. And we ended up moving back to I moved back to the East Coast, and Kadesha ended up moving to Texas. And maybe I'll let you tell it, because I'm sure you can do a better job than I can tell. How did you go from San Diego to Texas? You was at the Potter House with Bishop T.D. Jakes. You got your ministry license. Then you end up moving to Delaware. But even before you went to Delaware, you had to stop to the Palace I Am conference to slay everywhere. So tell us a little bit about that.
Whew. Well, yeah, what Jill is saying is true. My husband and I lived in 3 states in 12 months. And basically, I didn't know it at the time, but now I do. I understand that I have a gift of faith. And so when God would call us to do something, we would just do it. And so it's like an Abrahamic call. And so God had gave me a dream, and he basically told me to get there, my life would be forever changed. And that there was Dallas. And I knew where there was because I was praying specifically on where we were to go next. I felt it in my spirit, I felt it in my gut, in my instinct that I knew we were going to be leaving San Diego. So for those of you in prayer mode, make sure you're praying specifically so you understand what God answers. Because when he answers, he will answer specifically. So nonetheless, we went on to Texas. He had us hidden for like 6 months. I birthed my book there. I birthed Live on Purpose, which is my business/ministry. And then shortly after, we found ourselves back in Delaware. Literally, we had storage, still have storage in San Diego, got my storage from Texas, but it was just all about following God, to be honest. And so I prayed, he answered, I obeyed. It wasn't easy. It was a struggle. We were living like the poorest who've ever lived in Texas, but nonetheless, God had to humble me. And so now I'm in I would say my exaltation. And so God will always bring you low before he brings you high. And so it's important just to obey, even though it's challenging. Obey, because there are rewards attached to that. And so, in a nutshell, God told us to move. We moved, we whined, we left a lot of things behind. I mean, literally clothes, family, pets. I mean, we had like 9 dogs at the time. So we literally packed whatever we could in our car, and we left at like 2 or 3 in the morning, half sleep, and we moved to Texas. And now I'm back in my hometown, Delaware. And so God will send you out to bring you back in, because there were certain things that I needed to be equipped in order to really serve my community better in Delaware. So yeah, that's where we are.
Absolutely, some great stuff. And this is one thing too that you didn't mention that I'm going to mention. Kadesha had, at one point, you decided to quit your corporate job, making 80, close to 6 figures. You just walked away from that job and you started a business.
Correct.
Right. It was a wedding business, and then you started into. So tell us just a little bit about that part, the business aspect, and what you're doing right now.
So that was really when the journey, the living on purpose journey, really started. That was in 2011-ish. I was working full time, my corporate gig. I have a master's in business, so I was working in marketing for Sony Electronics in San Diego. But I knew in my heart, like, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I knew that. And so I knew that God wanted me to get certain tools and resources from a corporate setting. And one of my professors at Clark Atlanta, where I got my MBA, would always say, mess up somebody else's money before you mess up your own. And so my Sony electronic experience was phenomenal. Awesome. I mean, I loved it. I love my jobs. God has always given me favor with my bosses. But I still knew I was an entrepreneur. And so I was praying specifically. Again, here we go with the specific prayers. Watch those prayers. Because when you start praying specifically, God will respond. And when he responds, he expects you to respond. So I'm praying specifically. I did about 3.5 years, give or take there. And so I was praying, and then I went to this conference in Atlanta. And on my way to Atlanta, I was on a plane. So, you know, as you get closer to the ground, the houses become more like visible. And so I'm looking at the houses, and like, anyway, the houses end up forming like July. Because at this point I was praying to God, when am I leaving? Like, because at this point I was tired. Because God will use natural things to like speak to you spiritually. So he was raising up devils at the job because it was almost my time to go. And so I'm like, okay, when is it my time? Anyway, fast forward, I end up leaving in July. But you forget, God gives you these signs and these wonders, these miracles, and you forget, like, he was talking and all this stuff, but life is happening. So I end up leaving in July. I'm thinking it's all about my business, Charisma Events and Consulting. I'm going to be this millionaire. Yes, woo. Not quite. Not millionaire.
Not yet.
But millionaire in the making.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that transition off that transition, and this is the most important thing, the transition off of my job was really to get me in God's space. And that's really when ministry was birthed, because I had more time to spend with him. And that's where the growth comes, when you spend more time with God in your devotion time, in your prayer, in your corporate gathering settings. To grow in him and to grow in any area in your life, it requires time. So I was spending 2-3 hours in my quiet time with the Lord. I'm the one, I said I would never be the one, but I was the one at church time, noon prayer, 3 o'clock prayer. I was going in because I needed to hear him and I needed to know what my next instruction was. And so left my job, not millionaire yet, but millionaire in the making. And so Charisma Events is a wedding and event planning business, which I still do, but I have other people doing it for me, praise God, in Cali. But it really was about ministry for me to figure out what my gifts are, where does he want me to operate in the kingdom business. And it was just really about me learning who I was, because I had no idea. Because school can teach you a lot, degrees can teach you a lot, but they cannot teach you your spiritual gifts. And so that's what I needed to learn in my quiet time with God, and him telling me who I am and who he wanted me to be. And so that's what that transition really looked like.
Absolutely. That's a great step. And something I wanted to say in terms of seeking God and finding your purpose, you know, prior to last year, I didn't spend as much time as I really should in prayer. And last night we had the opportunity to speak to singles. We were talking singles, saved, and struggling. And well, you know, people were like really just sick and tired of people saying, oh, go pray about it. Right. And I can relate to that, because I know my mom used to tell me when I go to her with a problem, oh, pray about it. Right. As if, you know, that was the answer, and I didn't feel like it was the answer. Right. But over the time, I found that prayer is a real answer. However, if you're engaging in a little 2 to 3 minute prayer, you may not feel that impact. And you know, at one time I used to think, it's not about the amount of time you spent. Well, you think about it with any relationship, okay? With any relationship, would you really marry somebody that you only spend 2 or 3 minutes a day with? Anybody in the room? Anybody on live stream? No, I'm just asking the question. I would not. I would never, right? I remember when I was courting, my husband was courting me and we were dating, like we spent hours upon hours and days upon days getting to know each other. Right. And it's the same thing with your spiritual relationship. So if you're right now struggling, whether it's purpose, perhaps even dealing with certain things in your journey, trying to live a life of holiness and pureness, and you're struggling, then you should pray. And if you're praying right now for 5 minutes, I double dare you to pray for 10 minutes. If you're praying for 10 minutes right now, I double dare you to do it for 20 minutes, because it makes the difference the more you spend with God. Because what's happening in that process, you're learning to suppress the flesh and things that comes with that. And you're also, like you're saying, hearing the voice of God.
Right.
And you also have a book, Live on Purpose book and journal. Tell us a little bit about that, how they can use that, you know, in order to help them as they're going through this searching and seeking God more. Use that book to help complement that on their journey to get back into or getting into living on purpose.
Absolutely. But before I go there, I wanted to talk about the spending time a little bit, because it can get boring. I mean, I've been married for almost 7 years. So, you know, we have to find things to do to keep us engaged, keep us involved, keep us excited. So that charisma, you know what I mean, is in the marriage. And the same thing happens with God. It can get boring. It can really get boring if you're just doing the same thing, prayer time. You know, you may fall asleep. Like, I mean, let's just keep it real. We saw a war room. She got chips, soda box, and everything else. It can get boring. So I would advise you to ask God to make it interesting. You know, get a book. Have some soft music. Go to a beach. Like, don't make this thing so ritualistic that it's like not fun anymore. Because some of us been in God for years and still haven't seen any transformation. So you gotta ask God to make it excited to church, and God said, hold up. Man, you going somewhere different. So, you know, don't get caught up in doing the same thing all the time. Like, God is cool. Like, he's fun. He's creative. So ask him to allow you to be creative. Oh, and that's actually a perfect segue. One of the ways you can be creative is using books in your quiet time. And Live on Purpose devotional journal is a great one to use. So yeah, it's really
shameless plug.
It's a devotional journal, and it's really, I had zip line for the first time in Antigua, and I came home in San Diego at the time, and there was a commercial. And I'm like, first of all, I'm already a crier. But like the commercial came on and the lady was ziplining, and I just like boo-hooed. My husband's like, what's wrong with you now? But what happened was I was I'm not fearful of not a lot of things. And I was really fearful when I was ziplining, because has anyone ziplined?
Yes.
You're up high. It's like just you and this harness. And I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel for real. So anyway, when I saw the commercial, I realized that God was speaking to me and saying, you know, why were you so fearful in the zip line? Everything that you've done so far have been like zip lining. I've been walking by faith, and I've been walking in courage and walking in boldness this whole time. So why would the zip line be any different? And so that's what the devotional journal is about, is just really comparing a zip line tour to a life on purpose. You need courage, you need boldness, you need people around you that can help push you into your life of purpose.
Good stuff. I think very well said. So with that being said, I know there's many people in the room. Some of them may be on purpose and not. And also we got to talk about, let's talk about so much, even your career now, because living on purpose don't mean necessarily you're starting your own business. Absolutely. But sometimes even doing your purpose in your career. So I guess the question, let me just wrap this all up for you. How do they get over that fear and uncertainty and start living in purpose? Whether it is launching that entrepreneurial journey, or perhaps finding a career that is aligned to what their passions are.
Absolutely. So first of all, fear is fake. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And in my devotional journal, I compare it to a shadow. You know, if you're walking and there's a shadow behind you, it's just you in your own way. And that's basically what fear is. But the enemy tries to use fear to torment us, to bring about doubt, to tell you you're not worthy, you don't have enough gifts. That's a lie, is a pure sense. And so my advice is go scared. Everything I do, I go scared. Just because I do it don't mean I'm not scared. I'm still human. Like, I'm packing up everything, y'all. Like, to this day, my husband will fight me. Like, I'm like, why are we still paying for storage? We don't need it. That's 3 years ago. Like, we left everything. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know what was happening when I was going to leave my corporate position. Yeah. Like, I was the breadwinner. Let that be real clear. I was the breadwinner. So, but I had to go because for me, I wanted to obey God, and that was the most important thing. So go scared. Whatever you need to do, you better go that thing trembling. When I had my first event in February 2015 in Delaware, I was so nervous. Like, my knees were shaking. That's why I had to sit down. People was like, why did you sit? Because I couldn't stand. But you still have to do the things that God called you to do scared. Everyone in Moses, Joshua, Paul, I mean, they were all nervous. So that comes with the territory. It gets easier over time because practice makes a habit. So over time, you won't be as fearful. But in the beginning, go scared. And understand that not everyone is, like Jill said, not everyone's called to full-time entrepreneurship. That is okay. There are plenty of careers out there, and we need to be out there as believers. We need to be in certain positions making certain calls. So you have to be clear, try to get clear on where God is calling you. Is he calling you to a different career, which may mean less money, because everything in the kingdom is not about coins. Now God will bring the coins at the appointed time, but he wants to see if you're going to work for less, because he's just trying to have you impact. When I was in Dallas, he had me working at an administrative job. And I'm not knocking administrators, but I have a master's in business. God knows I can do a little bit more than that. But it was about the people that he needed me to impact and have an effect on. So I had to humble myself and get paid a very small minimum wage, but it was about the kingdom work, the lasting work. So ask God, what is it that he's calling you to do in this season? Because seasons change, purpose change. Like, we don't have to do the same thing for 25, 30 years. So it may be a career, it may be a business, it may be a mixture of both. And to that point, I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, but I have You Purpose Me Institute coming up. So hopefully we'll be able to...
Go ahead, share it right now.
Okay. So that's starting in April. And that's basically 3 different programs for that person who's just seeking purpose. You just need some help spiritually, faith develop. That's just your focus. The other part of the program is aligning your purpose with career. And that's kind of what I do now. I work with youth part-time. God hasn't had me really working full-time since I left my full-time position. So I work part-time with the youth. I love it. I'm basically teaching them how to live on purpose. But then the other part of the program is business development. That is my heart for faith and business, for people who are people of faith to have businesses. And so that's the other one, and you can learn more about that by following me.
Awesome. I'm just going to say we need to pretty much wrap up here, but I want to say a couple shout outs. And before I do that, I have to say, even with this event, I had to walk in faith for sure. Absolutely. Because if I could be really honest, about 48 hours ago, half of the people that's in the room was not registered to be in the room. Can I be that honest? Mm-hmm. Okay. However, I had to continue to deny myself and continue to walk in faith and continue, even what God said wasn't being, I couldn't see it. I had to believe it.
That's right.
And I combine that prayer with that work, and things worked out. So, okay, that's what I want to say about that. So go pray, like she's saying, feel the fear, and do it anyway. So, Kadesha, how can they stay in contact with you? How can they stay connected with you? What's your social media handle and everything?
Sure, Kadesha Carroll, Kadesha, Carroll, 2 R's, 2 L's. If you want to stay connected via newsletters, emails, you can go to my website, KadeshaCarroll.com, and you can register there.
Awesome. And I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. We have some amazing sponsors for this event. One is Beauty by Tanisha. So if you're admiring the beats on this face, we have the lovely Tanisha who did it. It's Beauty by Tanisha, and I believe that's her website. I will post it on the link. And if you're watching live, do me a favor. Make sure you're posting questions and everything. We will go back and address those questions. And you can always inbox me as well on Facebook. And we will be back live the next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next week for our episode, we're going to be talking with Morgan Cox and Morgan Bird and Mashandi Wright Brown with some amazing things, talking about what to do when the love is gone. And don't let the title fool you, because it's not everything you think it is. You got to come back. Ooh, I was about to drop my iPad. Don't do that. Okay, so as you come back and check it out, so thank you for viewing. Make sure you share this out with all your friends. This is Singles Central TV. Until next time, thank you so much, Kadesha. We're so grateful to have you today.